I was asked to do a video for Comedy Bloggity, I said yes, because I truly believe it's important to give back to the community. As Lord knows, I took a lot of things from the community over the years. I took this and that grinder over there and a bunch of other things. Folks, I've been all over the world and I've played for people just like you, and sometimes I play for people who are you, like now. And, I've been all over this world, and actually, I've never left the country, really, but I've been up and down the country, and nope, never left the country either, but I've been all over this city. Nope, never really left this neighborhood, really, but been up and down this neighborhood. Actually, I've never really left this just general area, this kind of cabin right here, but I've seen all sorts of things, regardless. I've seen there's some bugs on the ground and bits of dirt and stuff like that, so I've kind of got a good perspective of the way things operate. And I was trying to think about what could I share with y'all, and I thought about that long and hard, and I thought, well, maybe I'll tell y'all a story about my daddy. See, because my daddy was born in this general area right here as well, and I'll tell y'all a story, kind of an inspiring story, if you will. One day when I was about 9 or 10 years old, my daddy had fallen from the roof of our house. And so later that evening, I discovered that my daddy had not landed yet. And I ran up to him, and hell, he couldn't have been more than 4 or 5 feet off the concrete at that point. And I said to him in a voice that was surprisingly calm, given the gravity of the situation, I said, "Daddy, are you going to land?" I'll never forget what he said. He looked at me with those upside down eyes of his, and he told me the most important thing anybody had ever told me in my life. He said, "Son, if I land, I am going to die." So he didn't land, because landing would have been the easy thing to do, and Daddy was not an easy man. If he was a question, people would have skipped him. Well, that night, my mother and brothers, we sat down all night, and we just looked at my daddy hovering there, like the bright beacon of hope that he was for us all. And he managed to live a very full and fulfilling life, just about 5 feet from yonder. He lived that way for the next 2 decades, just sort of hovering there. Lived a full and fulfilling life, as I say. In fact, for their silver wedding anniversary, kids all got together and we bought a harness so we could lower my mom on top of him. So he had a full and fulfilling life, like I say, until eventually he was hit by a bullet that had been fired at him in 1968 during the Vietnam conflict. Daddy was a man who knew how to slow things down when he had to. And with that, my daddy finally landed, because it was time for him to land. And 20 years ago, it was not time for him to land, and he knew that. So whenever I find myself down in this life, I think of my daddy. I think of him hovering out there in that absurd position, that logic-defying position, and what it must have meant to the old man to be so close to an earth that's pulling at you every fucking day and saying, this is the way things operate, you have to land now. And the sheer fortitude it took him to levitate for 2 decades is something I'll never forget. And it's the reason why, to this very day, I refuse to set foot on this earth.